You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Hold your Seinfeld comments because we're going to get to that in a second. I just want to read some of the messages that have come in on the Prairie Mobile text line, 840-8777. Tony says, yesterday the Cirque du Soleil received a $200 million U.S. bailout from the Quebec government. Oh, believe me, I saw it. It was sent to me last night by everybody. But our good friend Dave Jameson, who does have a strong connection to the theater community and arts, did point out it's a 365-day global brand that's international. He said comparing Cirque du Soleil to the CFL is apples and oranges. He goes, I like the thought, barking up the wrong tree. If J-Mo says it, I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Shane writes in, says, amazing interview with Warren Moon. Class act, wonderful player in person. That is from Shane. And I would agree. I was a little nervous about interviewing Warren Moon. I've never interviewed him before. But he carried it. Lob him a couple and let him go. Mm-hmm. It's not rocket science. From Brady in Saskatoon, I think the greatest CFL quarterback of all time is Doug Flutie. The greatest quarterback in the CFL to play in both the NFL and CFL is Warren Moon. Interesting twist on things there.
Yeah.
There is a difference. It's Brady's thinking too hard on this Wednesday morning. Dallas. What should I call you, Dallas? From the Brandon Wheat Kings? He's a scout for the Wheat Kings. He says, Kramer, end of story. For best Seinfeld character. I think that's going to be our poll question tomorrow. Let's take it to the streets. Let's let them decide who's the best. 4 of them. Works real easily, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're not putting Newman in there.
No.
It's Jerry, Elaine, George, and Kramer. Boom. So here's my Seinfeld story. This is a good one. And actually, it morphs a little bit with my Hooters story. So bear with me.
Okay.
Friend of mine at Evraz Place, he's a big shot there, VP. I'm not sure what his actual VP of what, I don't know. Doesn't matter. He says, you got this talk show. Hey, any time that you want an entertainer coming through Regina, just let me know and I'll put him on your show. And of course, if you know me well enough, I'm going to save it. I'm just going to ask for the first guy that comes along or a gal.
No.
I'm going to swing a haymaker from my ankles when it really matters.
Yeah.
So I waited like a couple of years. Jerry Seinfeld's coming to town. So I said to my friend, his name's Graham, I said, send him a text. Hey, Graham, Jerry Seinfeld's coming to town Friday night. Can I get him on my show? He's like, you would wait till now and ask for Jerry Seinfeld. I said, you offered. It was your offer. He goes, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
The show was a Friday night, and he had performed in Winnipeg the night before. It's a hell of a story. So I'm waiting all day Friday to hear if I can get Jerry Seinfeld on the show. And he came in and he stayed at the Hotel Saskatchewan, the 100-year-old hotel in downtown Regina. And he went out for a walk around lunchtime, and all of a sudden photos are showing up on Facebook and Twitter of people that are taking pictures of him. And he's greeting fans. Seems like a really nice guy. So I'm hearing this thinking, oh, maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance. I'm just waiting by the minute. We'll have we'll keep the whole show open, my old show, to bring Jerry Seinfeld on. And around 4 o'clock, Graham called me and said, I can't get him. He's booked up. And I said, what's the deal? And he goes, it's a long, wild story, but here's the deal. So he had done... the short version of it is he's doing a private event during your show for employees of Brandt, a private show at a conference room at the Brandt Center ahead of his concert. So he's going to be working. But the other thing is he rented out the entire Galaxy Cinema for himself to watch Planet of the Apes. He was the only guy in the theater. And the show had to start at 3:55. And my show went on the air at 4. And I'm like, what? Why? And he goes, here's the thing. He's absolutely, unbelievably hung up on the number 5. To the point that the night before when he was doing the show in Winnipeg, he was going to fly on his private jet from Winnipeg to Regina. And the show promoter said, Jerry, do you mind if I jump on your jet to go to Regina? Because otherwise I'm going to have to drive. If you know Winnipeg, it's hard to get from Winnipeg to Regina. Hard to figure out on a commercial airline. Can I jump in with you? And Seinfeld was like, I already got 5. You would be the 6th. We're talking about flying here. Like, this is a problem for me. And the guy's like, I'll sit in the bathroom if you want, please. And he's like, okay. So the guy sat in the bathroom of the plane the whole way here. But this is where the thing with the 5s really got weird. Driver shows up in a big stretch Escalade SUV to pick up Jerry and his crew at the airport. They take him to the Hotel Saskatchewan. Everybody piles out of the Escalade. And Seinfeld's sitting in the back of by himself in the back of the Escalade. And the driver goes, I'm sorry, Mr. Seinfeld, is there something wrong? And he goes, I'm waiting until 10:55 to get out. And it was like 10:53. So he said, in 2 more minutes, I will get out, but I do everything on the 5s. Which, as a mental health professional that I am, that is OCD behavior. It's not dangerous, but that just makes him feel better.
Yeah.
So that's at 10:55. He jumps up, grabs his bags, runs into the Hotel Saskatchewan, and then he's fine. So the next day, the show starts at 3:55, the movie that he wants. So he rents out the entire theater for himself. Then he goes to the Brand Center, does that private show, and I am at the concert or the show, whatever. And I'm up in the Molson box. Sorry, Great Western. That's where I was. It's now the Great Western box, luxury suite. And I'm visiting with all the beer reps. And the opening act was some comedian from New York, some buddy of Jerry's. He did his show, started at 7:30, does 20 minutes, walks off stage. And then it's just black, empty. Nothing going on for like what seemed like an eternity. He just walked off the stage. He was the MC and the opening act. So we're like, oh, okay, well, we go back to the back of the fridge, you crack a beer. We're visiting in the back, and all of a sudden, the place goes wild. Jerry Seinfeld comes out and slides across the stage, as you could imagine that he would.
Yep, I can see it.
We all rushed to the front of the suite. I pulled my phone out, 7:55. So he was waiting to start his show on that time. And then the next day, we flew to Winnipeg. It was for the Banjo Bowl. And I'm telling the players, some of the riders, that this was the deal. It's a wild story about Jerry Seinfeld. And on this rare night in Winnipeg, the night before Banjo Bowl, that I'm in my room watching television, the phone rings. And it was Mark Peranto, Riders offensive lineman. He goes, hey, put it on Channel 11 right now. Seinfeld's on. I'm like, what about it? He goes, look at his apartment number. Door flies open from Kramer. What do you think the number is?
5.
Look it up.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And
cool.
From Wayne in Vancouver. That is a hell of a story, Rod. From Jeff in Calgary. To be rich, you can be that eccentric. You can have whatever he wants. Have that man put to death. Bring him back to life. And on the Hooters thing, I know we're over time here, but we had a deal with Evraz Place to put a restaurant on the grounds over by the new stadium. And it was a very interesting story, but the Evraz Place officials brought me in there, pulled down this screen, showed me this whole plan of putting a restaurant. This is where we want to do it, and we want you to lead it, Rod. And I said, whoa, I know absolutely nothing about restaurants. Nothing. And I know enough about restaurants to know that I know nothing about restaurants. And they said, we know that you know people. So would you be interested in pulling together a group of investors and, putting a restaurant on there? Really of your choice, but we'd have to approve it. And I said, yeah. So within a day, I had the investors ready to go. None of them were from Regina. They were all outside Regina investors. We were ready to go, and it was going to be a Hooters. Because I was the Hooters guy at the time, was my favorite chain. Went to Evraz Place, and they said, no, this is a family place. This is a family operation here. Sporting events, entertainment, which, no, Hooters doesn't fit with us. And I said, what do you think it is, a strip club? It's a family restaurant. Have you ever been to it? But listen, hey, I'm not going to fight with you. So we went back, and then I dealt with the people with Shark Club, which is Chop, Shark Club. Maybe you know about it. There's 2 other brands in there. And it was going to be a Shark Club.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, the people that I was dealing with Evraz Place left.
Is Moxie's part of that?
Moxie's was one, I think.
And there's one other one. Yeah.
No, they're not. That's the Sandman. It's not. I don't.
No, but the Shark Clubs are attached to Sandman.
Okay, well, then it is. Yeah. Well, it was going to be a Shark Club here. And the whole deal fell apart. unfortunately. That was my first foray into the restaurant industry. Would later go on to buy a restaurant and learned a ton, and I love it. I do.
Yeah.
But so here we go. Craig and Regina. Damn you, Rod. Bring us a Hooters and a Shark Club to boot. What a setup over by Taverns United in Winnipeg. Dare to dream. Well, they have a deal to bring a restaurant to Everest Place. Somebody sent me the link to it the other day and said, are you involved in this? And I said, nope. I've said, if I ever say I'm getting in the restaurant business, you're supposed to do what?
Stop you.
You're supposed to punch me between the eyes.
Yeah.
And if you don't, my wife will. Anyways, we got to run. Hope you had fun.
Oh, yeah.
Rock star of the day is Warren Moon. This has been one of the funnest shows. Great job, Clark. Do you want to put up tomorrow's guests or not? It's not. But that's Derek Myers, Peter Labardius, Dustin Wolf, Flames prospect goalie of the Everett Silvertips, right? Mm-hmm. Goalie. All right, it's a hockey show tomorrow.
The play-by-play guy DMing me excited.
Okay, I love it.
On.
Oh, good. It's just going to be fantastic. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Mountain right here on Facebook Live.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.